Family, this is your boy DJ Leon D. I'm back from LA, from Los Angeles, California. You know, LA is a it's about as diverse as you can possibly get in this world. It's got something for everybody. It got something that everybody's not going to like. That's just how LA rolls. New York is similar, but let's talk about LA. Now, I love LA because LA is a city that if you have nothing when you start, you can make something out of yourself. LA has every kind of opportunity you want. And it's not all about Hollywood. It's not all about Hollywood. It's about LA and what LA has to offer everybody. Whether you're a teacher or an actor, whatever you want to be, you can be in LA. LA is very diverse. You can go there with nothing, like a lot of probably thousands of people have, and you can leave with something like thousands of people have. Now, let's get down to it. I'm going to tell you why I love LA the most. Two reasons. They got great food and they got great weather. Now, there's some things about LA I just don't like. I don't like their homelessness, and I hate the traffic. But there's a way around the traffic. Just stay on the side streets. Stay on the side streets. That's all you got to do. If you get on the freeways, you are doing so at your own risk. And that is not a very good risk I would take because LA is a huge city land-wise. Land-wise, it is spread out. It's one of the biggest cities we have land-wise in all of America, if not the world. It is huge. And then LA County itself. LA has a huge metro. And, one of the things that's kind of weird about LA is that they have cities within cities. It's kind of weird. They have a lot of cities within cities. And what's weird is that they all have their own different set of laws and rules. So you got one that don't sell alcohol on Sunday and one that sell alcohol 24 hours a day everywhere. But the good thing about it, you only got to go about 4 or 5 blocks and you're in a different city, if not LA. So my whole point is that LA is a city for everybody. They're very, very diverse in every way possible. And sometimes that's just too good to be true. Because when you look and see a lot of good things, you're going to find something negative. And that's LA for you. Now, saying all that, LA got crime. I'm not going to say a lot of crime because it's a huge city of probably about 7 or 8 million people, at least, if not more. But they got crime, but you almost have to go look for it. They got it. And they got all types of crimes. Because anytime you got a city with a bunch of haves and a bunch of have-nots, the have-nots are going to take from the haves. That's just life in general. That's any and everywhere. And LA is a very liberal city. You see a lot of stuff that you won't see, that you would not see other places, but you see them in LA. Now, the food scene in LA. It's probably the second, maybe the best in the world. You don't find too many cities like LA when it comes to food. They got any and every kind of food you could possibly want because they got people from everywhere. And I don't mean that everywhere you go, you're going to see a Mexican cook. No. If you get Persian food, you're going to have Persian cooks. If you get Korean food, you're going to have Korean cooks. That's just the way Los Angeles rolls, And then, like I said, they got something for everybody. If you love the beach, LA is for you. If you love the beach, if you love the sunshine, I like a city where every day is 75 degrees. It's between 75 and 80 every single day. Now people talk about the smog and everything else. When I was there, I didn't see any of that. I know it's there. I didn't see any of it. I think there are days that it's smoggy, but nowadays with all the wildfires and everything and all the smoke from Canada and from every place else in the world, I guess LA looks normal to you. But I didn't see none of that. All I saw was sunshine, sunshine, and sunshine. Even when it's smog, and I've been to LA probably about 20 times in my life. And yet, when I seen smog, I still had sunshine. And you don't get a lot of rain. When it rains in LA, it don't rain in Southern California at all, the more I think about it. It rains a lot in Northern California. I've had weeks where I nothing but rain. But the people are not as friendly as the people in the South. It seems like in LA, everybody has a side hustle, which is, nothing wrong with that. But it seems like everybody has a side hustle and you're the hustle. They're trying to make $1 or $2 off you. And taxes are expensive. Yeah, California got a lot of taxes. I'm talking about just buying food and just buying normal things. They sales tax is probably around 10%. Depends on which county or city or district or suburb you're in. But it's at least 9%, which is a lot. That's a lot to somebody from the East Coast where we think 6% is a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. 5% is a lot, but they just double that. It's not a big deal there to them. Now, one thing about LA that if you are not sure, LA, a lot of cities are food cities. A lot. Some want to be, like Atlanta, but they're not. But a lot of them are. But you don't find as many at the level of LA. No, it's maybe 5 or 6 cities at that level worldwide. Where you name it, you got it there. There's maybe 5 or 6. And I think 3 or 4 are in the United States. Because most cities in the United States are very diverse, especially the bigger cities. Now, especially along the coast. Now, saying that about the food scene in LA, you got food trucks. Food trucks in LA are running rampant. I love it. You got something for everybody. Now, saying that, it's not just the food that's very, very diverse. I mean, that LA is a car city. It is definitely a car city. You can go and people watching car wash at the exact same time, at the exact same place. LA, you can do that. It's not a big deal at all to LA. They got, $1 million cars and they got cars cost $1. But the people in LA love their cars. I don't care what race they are. I don't care where they're from. Some reason they get to LA, they just love their cars. And I love that. Because people take good care of their cars. They do a lot of things that some people are just lazy and won't do. LA has it all. LA has it all. Like I said, you can go see there, you can sit there, have your nice drink on a nice Saturday or Sunday, and you can see pretty people all day long and even prettier cars all day long, day or night. And it depends on what your interest is, because you can go a couple of blocks and you can totally change how you see things or what you want to see. If you don't like what you see on this block, walk 4 blocks down the street, you can see it. Now, like I said earlier, the things about LA I do not like. They got homelessness everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. Yeah. LA has it everywhere. Sometimes you'll be walking down the street and you won't see nothing, and you look down the alley, you see all kind of stuff. But also, the thing about LA that you'll see a lot of, you'll see what you want to call it, support for the homeless people. You'll see clinics on wheels. You see all kind of stuff, especially in this tourist area. The more tourists that go there, the more people you see sleeping on the sidewalks, pissing on the sidewalk. You see everything. That's not a good look, California. But saying that, I don't know what you can do, because it's a lot of people who need some help in California right now. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if I had no place to go, nothing to do, no food to eat, I would go to LA as well. Because if you're gonna be in that situation, why not go why not go where you're gonna be taken care of? Because the East Coast is not going to take care of you like they will in California. That's just the way how life works. But saying that though, if I always told myself, if I ever get in a situation where I'm down and out, I'm gonna save my last $200, $300 and get on the Greyhound and go to LA, because if they're going to take care of me and give me good sunshine, nah, I'm not going to turn that down. And they got beaches for, their beaches are not like Florida beaches. Their beaches are in pockets because they have the marinas and all the other stuff in between. But their beaches, though, are great. I love the beaches there. They are crowded. They got a lot of things to do. They got food trucks. They got restaurants. They got bars. They got everything right there. You can just walk along Venice Beach, Huntington Beach, Hermosa Beach. You can walk around and see all that. If you look at the videos I'm putting up right now, you'll see that you can see all that. And you know what? They make it fun. They got volleyball games. They got horseshoes. They got pickleball. Well, not pickleball, but they probably will have pickleball. But they got everything. Now, let's talk about something in L.A. I was talking about people being homeless, not having a home a minute ago. But one of the things that LA is super expensive when it comes to houses and homes. But that's California in general. I don't want to use the word overpriced, but they exceed the normal prices. I've seen places that cost like $8 million on the East Coast. That's a $1,500 to $2,000 a month rent condo. Yeah. But LA is totally different though. LA, everything out there is extremely expensive. I want to say not the food, but that's not true. When they add in the taxes, it's a lot. It ends up being way more than it should be. But if you're paying the wages high, then it's all relative. And because I don't live out there, I went to visit, then maybe it's not expensive to those who are going to California. California is a place where you go to make your money, like the Northeast, and then you go somewhere like the Midwest where everything is cheap because people don't make no money. But it's all relative. But when you go from California or LA to somewhere else, everything seems cheap, and that makes things go up for the locals who live in that area. Yeah. And you got to pay to park almost everywhere in LA. Now, in San Fran, you can go to Target, and they have a parking garage. LA may or may not. Very seldom do you see parking garages. Now, I did see them downtown, but you can park some places, a lot of places in the suburbs for free if you can find a parking spot, which is always the impossible task. If you can find a parking spot. You're not going to find a parking spot in most of LA and most of the suburbs. People park on the streets. There are a few restaurants that have a reserved parking for their customers. And it seems like when I went to a restaurant, I always do a couple of Persian restaurants. You get Persia of Tehran, Tehran restaurants. They got the best Persian food in America. And the reason they have the best Persian food in America, because they got the highest Persian population outside of Iran. Yep. That's LA for you. But let's talk about something that happens a lot in LA. You get all these fires, and they just never get them in LA. They got them in Northern California or Central California. Now they get these wildfires, and that leads to mudslides because there's nothing to absorb all the rain they get when they do get rain. They don't get rain a lot because they get a lot of wildfires, and they using helicopters to put out the fires. They're not using the rain like a lot of people want to do or hope they can do. But the people pretty much keep to themselves. Now, one thing I thought was weird, and maybe that's just me, a lot of the houses got fences around them. Yeah, they're all fenced up. It's almost like it's to protect my property. It's nothing that you want in a community where people walk around and say, hello, how you doing, what's going on? No, LA kind of like got wildfires. I mean, they got people not boarded up houses. They just got a fence around all these houses. Every house someone lives in has a fence around it. I'm just like, it's not inviting. Put it that way. It's not very inviting. Now, saying that, going to LA is very, very cheap. I don't care where, because they got at least 5 airports in the LA area. So no matter where you're flying from, you can always get to LA. LA is like these big cities on the East Coast. You can always fly in and fly out. Getting a flight is not a problem. And it's not really far from a lot of national parks. It seems like it is because it's on the coast, but it's not very, very far. And like I said, you don't want to drive around LA. You can Uber, sit back, and let somebody else deal with all the stress. on the 105, the 405, the 5. Let somebody else deal with all that mess, because it can be stressful, especially if you got to be somewhere at a certain time. I can see that right now being a problem for me, because I'm all about action. I'm all about time, being on time to do what I'm going to do. And it's not far from those who want to gamble, because they got casinos in California. But one other thing is weird too. It's weird as hell. Earlier I said things are expensive, especially gas. Gas is off the chain. Gas is about 50% higher than than what it is on the East Coast, or maybe even higher if you look at the southern part of the United States. But they have oil wells in the middle of the damn city. You'll be driving somewhere and you see an oil well right there in the middle of the city. That looks so weird, because California got all these crazy laws about what you can and can't do, and they want to throw their laws on the national companies, which is crazy. Just make sure they go by your rules in your country. I mean, in your state. Don't try and make people in other areas do other things they don't want to do. They get a chance to vote for what they want to do, and so do you. Now, the one thing about Los Angeles that I love a lot, there is something to do 24 hours a day, every single day, without repeating yourself. I like walking around Beverly Hills. I like, I like going to some of the museums, because they have museums you won't see nowhere else. I like people watching. I love car watching. I like doing all that, and LA has all of that for you. I like trying all the different foods, and I like the beach. Now, I'm not going to sit in the sun for no 18 hours or whatever, like some people do, but it doesn't bother me to sit in the sun a couple of hours and then go find me a restaurant to eat a good meal, and I can pick whatever I want. Now, one place I like in LA a lot is called Paco's Tacos. Yeah, Paco Tacos. It's a small chain, and I like a good hot dog, so I go to a place called Pink's. You'll hear about Pink's, they were famous, but the name lives up to its reputation, which is good, which is what I want to do. So my whole thing to anybody who wants to go to LA, go. You won't regret it. You're going to be there, but you can't do it in 2 or 3 days. If you do it in 2 or 3 days, because you're going to spend one day sitting in traffic. That's just how it works. But there are times when traffic on the freeways move fairly quick. Just that when you're by the airport and you're by Compton, traffic, Inglewood and stuff, traffic moves very, very slow. You just got to expect that. Now, LA they try to have some soul food, but like I said earlier, you get places like Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, overrated, expensive for hard chicken. The employees don't care about, the reputation of the place. They care about getting a little check, and they kind of look like they're all relatives. You go up to Roscoe Chicken and Waffle in the north part of the city, they're all white. The southern part, they're all black. The eastern part, they're all Hispanic. Yeah, so you get a very, very diverse, and everybody knows every employee is totally different. Depends on what kind of, I guess it depends on how you incentivize them, but everyone is different. But it's not a big deal. Now, now what I'm going to tell you is that if I can go back and I would live in the LA area if the taxes were not high, not as high as they are, and the houses were more affordable. I don't mind spending a lot of money on a house, but mentally, I just can't spend that kind of money on what I think should be a lot cheaper. But that's just me, and it is what it is. Now, saying all that, if you want to go to LA, the best bet is to live in the suburbs and make LA a day trip. Don't living in the city, they got some upscale and downscale houses. Big cities got big ghettos. I didn't run into any ghettos that was that dangerous that I was afraid to go into. But because most places I went to, that maybe they were dangerous a few years ago when the Rodney King situation and all the other stuff and all the gangs. You don't see a lot of that from a tourist perspective, but you may see a lot of that if you live there. because perspective is always tainted. You go into places that you're not gonna normally live at. I mean, tourists, you go into the nicer areas, but I'm sure, like every other city, there's a bad side somewhere. You turn the wrong block, and I did see some bad sides, but I seen some sides that people say is not bad, look like they should have been bad, especially in Little Korea. I mean, hell, I seen some streets with homeless and everything else on there. I'm like, okay, people say, oh, it's a nice neighborhood. Okay, everybody's standards are different. The police say it's not. Everybody's standards are different. But it's a pretty city. In LA, they got a decent skyline. It don't compare to the ones on the East Coast. No. They got about 10 or 15 buildings that's maybe taller than 50 stories, but nothing like the East Coast though. But like I said, LA probably got the best food scene in the world. If not, they're number two. I don't know who got a better food scene because all the food is good. And I don't mean it's like London. London, England is very diverse, but the food sucks no matter where you get it from. Unless you get a food from a different country or a different culture, but not from the UK. Where in LA, you got top of the line Korean food, you got top of the line, you got all the Asian food is good. Because that's a hot spot for Asians in general. And I don't mean like the Chinese in San Francisco, but they got everybody else. They got some Chinese there, but it's not like as good as San Fran. But I like LA vibe a lot better because you got authentic Mexican food and you got authentic Persian food, and some of the Mexican food. The thing I like about it is that you don't go in the same restaurant and eat the same Mexican food because they come from different regions of Mexico and they all specialize in certain things. So I was just happy as hell with the fact that the menus were always the same. And they got this place called In-N-Out Burger that I really think is, well, I know it's highly overrated and maybe not overpriced, but it's highly overrated. And all you see there is just young kids, 18, 17-year-olds trying to make $1. But the food isn't what people hype it up to be. It's not, it's just a burger. I'm not the kind of person that's going to ever spend, $20 on a couple burgers. That's never going to be me. Unless I'm sitting down in a restaurant, they bring it to me, and it's something that I can't get nowhere else, like a bison burger, but not just a regular flat hamburger that weighs less than a quarter of an ounce, because they always advertise it weighs a quarter of an ounce frozen. And when you get it, it's not frozen. So my whole thing is go to LA. You would enjoy LA. You would not regret it. And like I said, ignore some of the things you're going to see because some things are not normal LA. Some things are. But LA got some good and the bad. People, homeless. And then you got people who got a lot of money. And so, people who are homeless aren't leaving LA anytime soon. People got a lot of money, don't come to LA unless they have to. But they got it. They have activities for you to do every single day. And normally it's in a different part of LA. LA isn't quite like some of the other cities that take pride in the neighborhoods. They do a little bit, but the city do things as a city. It's a bigger community where I like kind of like the smaller communities, like the Five Boroughs in New York. But that's LA though. But get a chance to see LA and enjoy seeing that part of the country. You won't regret it. This is your boy DJ Leon D. Just got me from LA. I'm out.